people have dealt with so much disappointment and they've hoped for so many things. And when they didn't happen, now they're afraid to hope anymore.
Then you commented on somebody's experience with attending the workshop, the event.
Encounter. Yeah.
Yeah, the encounter. They said better than expected. Okay, so here's two contrasting words that I want to ask you what your perspective is on it. Hope versus expectation. This is something I've been ruminating on for a couple of years, and I can give you my thoughts on it, but I'd like to hear if that sparks any thought in your mind, and then I can tell you what I've been thinking about lately with those two words.
Get into expectation when you're hoping for something that doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen. And now, okay, so I hadn't thought of this in a long time. I have a friend, Rick Rigsby, who wrote a book, Afraid to Hope, right? Because people have dealt with so much disappointment and they've hoped for so many things. And when they didn't happen, now they're afraid to hope anymore. Right? Because gosh, if it does, and Brene Brown talks about this. Brene Brown talks about people that would rather live in disappointed than experience disappointment, right? Because you've allowed yourself to believe, to dream, to expect something could happen. And so you just, oh no, it's not going to happen for me. That may happen for others, right? So that's part of hope. But okay, so I also hear in my mind people go, well, hope's not a strategy. Hope's not a strategy. And my response now is no, but it sure is a skill, right? It may not be a strategy, but hope is a skill. And I don't want anybody pushing a strategy that doesn't have an ounce of hope in it. I'm not interested. I can't go a day without hope. I mean, if I don't have hope, I am in the darkest of dark, and it's despair, right? We have to have hope. Hope that tomorrow may be better than today, right? And despair, I heard this definition. The definition of despair is tomorrow will be no better today, maybe even worse, right? That's despair. So expectation, it's attributed to Shakespeare. I read somewhere else that Shakespeare didn't say this, but expectation is the root of all disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So how do we have disappointment? It's because we created an expectation, whether it's realistic or unrealistic, but we had some kind of expectation that didn't happen. And when it doesn't happen, and I've had a lot of those in my life, by the way. So okay, we're talking about some things that did work. I've launched a lot of things in the gratitude space that didn't work, right? So here's one. I had a friend, a business friend, a friend in business, an influential person in business said, hey, Kevin, this is 2 years ago. You should create an app. If you had an app, we'd bring it into our company and we'd promote it and share it and go crazy. I'm like, that'd be awesome. 2 weeks later, I'm talking to somebody and they go, oh, you got to meet my friend. So October of 2022. Yeah. I meet this guy that can develop an app. We develop an app. We launch it in early 2023. And right as we're launching it, something changes on their platform. And now the app can't do what I was hoping it would do, but we launch an app and I put money, time, effort, energy into this app, and it just doesn't produce the results I've wanted. And it is more than anything, it is an energy drain, right? And a money drain. And so the end of 2023, I knew I was going to pull the plug. We pulled the plug. Going into 2024, that's just not, we weren't going to do that anymore. But there was a lot of disappointment about that, right? Because I had expectation. And when I said this company is one of the largest companies on the planet. And if they would promote your app inside their company, it would be amazing. And then all of a sudden the app doesn't deliver. So I
Yeah.
know disappointment. So what
Yeah.
are your
Those are great examples. So I've had this conversation with people. I'm still kind of collecting my thoughts around this. I've read what other people say about hope. I have a close friend who's doing really great work. His name's Curtis Morley, on something called counterfeit emotions. And there's these dyads of authentic emotions versus a counterfeit that masquerades as an authentic emotion, but it actually is kind of negatively affects us. And one of these dyads, I'll use his terminology in authentic versus counterfeit to explain my thoughts on hope versus expectation. I feel in some sense that hope can be, or that expectation is a counterfeit of hope. Where expectation is where I have set somehow I've set some arbitrary line that is to be realized. And if it's not,
an arbitrary timeline too, probably.
Right. Which I've created somehow. Yeah. And if it's not realized, I am disappointed. But here's the fun part. Well, not necessarily fun, but what if it is achieved? What is my best case scenario? Mere satisfaction. Because it was supposed to happen.